What's up, everyone? This is Z from Metal Theory Radio, and this is the SentiMETAL podcast, and we are still working out the kinks of this thing, but so far it doesn't look too bad on my end. This is my new avatar pick I use for Metal Theory Radio. It's just something I made with AI. Sue me, because I change things a lot. So I can't just stick with one image and pay a guy like $300-400 to do an image or whatever because I don't have a consistent aesthetic yet. That sounds so teeny bopper of me, but I don't have one. But all right, we got some cool stuff ahead, and I think first of all I should talk about my trip that I went last week. I
Yes.
went and saw Slaughter To Prevail in Whitechapel. Then the next day up in Portland, I went and saw Whitechapel do a headline show. It was fun. I got a bunch of different merch. I can actually show you. There was a pop-up show in Seattle, like a pop-up shop, and they had these. It's Alex Terrible Slaughter To Prevail sandals. They're awesome.
I muted myself so you can't hear me laugh. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. That's
And then,
ridiculous.
yeah, then on the Portland show, they didn't have this one at the Washington show. I bought this Whitechapel. God damn it, I hate this stupid thing. It's the South Park image. You can look it up. It's pretty funny. But then let's see if I can actually show this. Good God, I hate the way this camera is sometimes. I'm still learning how to use this damn thing.
Yes, I see it. I love it. Love, love,
Slaughter,
love.
Slaughter To Prevail band T-shirt. Last shirt. This is one I bought also at the Washington show.
Oh, that's a cool one. God,
Yep,
their merch is so cool. They are so smart
yep. And
with their branding.
last and definitely not least, I don't have a vinyl player, but I told you some of my autographs got smudged, but they had these for sale. God damn it. Yeah, yeah. I'm so professional. This is such a professional podcast. There we go. Hymns and Dissonance signed by the entire band cost me 60 buckaroos.
Worth every penny. Always in vinyl. Always buying vinyl or don't even talk about it.
I buy
Love it.
CDs. It's cheaper.
I love vinyl.
Also, if I start collecting vinyl, I'm not going to be able to afford anything ever again. I have like maybe two vinyl. I have this one and another band called No Home because they didn't have CDs, and I love their artwork for their album. But I bought those. I also have a picture with Alex Terrible. He was actually in the back talking to people after the show, so I managed to grab a quick snap, and yeah. Then in Portland, Whitechapel played Hymn and Dissonance in the whole entire record. Then they played two songs off Somatic Defilement, and they ended it with This Is Exile. Their opener bands were I Declare War. To be honest, I'm not. I know about them. I just haven't listened to them. I need to at some point. Then Misery Whip. I didn't see a merch booth, so I'm guessing they're just like a local death metal band. Not too impressive, but the first band I've actually had a little bit of history with. They're called Earth Eater. I did some review and some reactions for them when I was with Total Deathcore. So I got to meet them, and they signed the album to CD too. That's the best part was CD, $10, got it signed. It was fun 2 days, except for I did get a parking ticket for Washington. $200 for over 1 hour being late. At least give me $100 for that 1 hour, but I didn't let it ruin the trip. But it was a great trip overall. To be honest, though, I don't want to go back to Seattle if I can help it. It's more weird than Portland, which is bizarre saying, but the theater was funny. One more thing for the show. The Paramount Theater is like this. It's a fancy building. It's like they have like symphonies here and stuff. all the ushers were older people wearing, button-down shirts with their necks up, and they're here at a deathcore show. I just thought it was the funniest thing because we have a theater similar in my town where the ushers are a bunch of older people, and I just thought it was hysterical. And none of them seemed traumatized. I guess they must get more deathcore shows at that venue than I'd expect. But Whitechapel, fantastic band. I'd gone and see them a third time if I had money. It was that good. Slaughter To Prevail, I have a bunch of pictures of them too, and Alex does sound like he does on the album, even better. There's one point where he actually drops the mic in his shows, and he just starts screaming, and you can hear it from where I was, because I wasn't in the pit. I was in a balcony type area, and it was awesome. They played some of my favorite tracks. Tilla was the opener for that show. Eh, didn't really care for him too much. Although I'll give Franz credit, he said he was going to the merch table after he was done with his show, so he's going to sign stuff. I didn't go because I didn't want to be in that line. Also, to be honest, I'm not like a huge fan, so why would I do that? But it was good. So I recommend if you can see Whitechapel or Slaughter To Prevail anytime this year, you should definitely do it. Both shows were awesome, and I'm gonna eventually have to look out I Declare War because I just haven't listened to them. Carnifex was at the California show for Whitechapel. I would rather have Carnifex to be honest. I saw their set list. I'm like, well, shit. That would have been a great Carnifex set list for Portland.
They sold
But
out. That was last night. That was last night. Yeah, they sold out. That's so much.
uh, that's awesome.
Pretty
So,
sick.
yeah, that was my week. Was a lot of fun. Bought all that merch. Great memories. What I do it again in a heartbeat. I'm actually singing Shadow of Intent at the end of this month with Angel Maker for a third time. Mental Cruelty, who I've never seen before. I like their old stuff better personally. That's just me though. And Siniskia, which is a really upcoming and promising deathcore band that I actually have their EP and I have a T-shirt. So, but
Mhm.
that's been my trip. How has been your listening? I'm sure you probably have some stuff you want to talk about.
Yeah, we haven't done anything in a couple of weeks, and honestly, it feels like the whole month. It feels like a whole mountain of music got dropped. The main event is just Lamb of God. I feel
How's
like I
that?
I slept on it. Well, I didn't sleep on it. I've been distracted with school and
Mhm.
clinicals and all this other crap and getting stabbed. I already told you a multitude of times with the needle over the past couple of weeks, just practicing blood draws and stuff. And ugh. But the new Lamb of God obviously is like top of my list. Been really focusing on that. Slept on the potential for interviews, and now they're
Damn,
touring, and I'm like, damn, that would have been a really good interview. Just
it would have.
wasn't really feeling it. I don't know why I allowed politics and all the bullshit to get under my skin and kind of draw me away from my normal listening enthusiasm, but I've got a list. My list is good, but I've got an even bigger list of things in the future that I don't know if we'll have a podcast or we'll do an episode in the coming weeks, but August Burns Red and the Amity Affliction are about to drop albums that are ridiculous. They are
So you've listened
phenomenal.
to New Amity then.
Yes.
How
Yes.
do you feel about them switching their bassist vocalist without the drama, just like musical wise?
I don't want to give away anything because they haven't dropped the album yet. I don't want to get in trouble, but there's a trend going on right now, and it's so funny how the claim is that, oh, we didn't hear anything, and then you have a backlog of drama with bands like A Day to Remember. They're like, oh, they ripped off Recon because they were in the same studio as Recon and they heard the drop 808 fixer upper here and they used it. It's like you hear stuff like that, but it's like this is no coincidence that so many bands are changing their sound to emulate this futuristic technology sort of resonation where I mean obviously the controversy is going to be, oh, are they pushing AI, are they pushing this sort of sound that's so pristine and conditioned because we're not used to anything that isn't you know chartable in the studio. You hear it and you're like, okay, remember when even plugins were a big deal?
Yeah,
when people using plugins or they were using my brain is so shot for music, yada yada. They were using Pro Tools. When people started
yeah,
using Pro Tools, you're like, oh, that's what audio engineers use. That's
yeah.
when you do it on your own, you sound like a tool. You're not actually recording. Remember back in the day, Led Zeppelin, yada yada, one take. Now it's different. Like everybody is conforming. And I mean, when it comes to lineup changes, to answer your question, very rarely do I give a crap. I like to poke jokes in articles about it where, I'm like, okay, now you're on watch. You can't keep your shit together. I'm watching your band, dude. What are you doing wrong? Why are you pissing everybody off? What is this, Tim Lambesis? But it's more like things like that happen. Lineup changes happen. Life is changing for everybody. I saw someone else in a band very similar just left the band to start a family, and it was a big thing. But I don't care. Bassists are bassists, as crummy as it sounds. I mean,
But he was
you're
the backup vocalist though too, so
yeah,
he was
but
a
I mean,
mainstay in the sound.
look at well, they aren't metal, but look at what Hawthorne Heights did after Casey died. They threw Micah in the position and he did just as well. I'm sure if they and maybe in a way they've decided to move away from the utilization of that, and the compromise is always more interesting. What they come up with to compensate for the dynamic they had before is going to be fascinating. But um, the new album is, it always sounds so cliche, but it's different from anything they've ever done before. It really is. I, I don't know. I don't want to say too much more because it just sounds cliche, but
Okay,
it's
I do
very,
have one question though. This is
yeah.
this is the this is the main question. Is the word ocean at all used in the entire album?
You're such an asshole. Not even once.
Are you serious?
Not even, it's not even one time. Not
I'm
even.
I'm su I'm surprised. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Joel as a songwriter and a musician, but some of his stuff was a little repetitive. There's always one song about the ocean in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, Let the Ocean Take Me is a great album. Don't get me wrong, but
No, this
then the
is
other.
definitely a war album, just like a cyborg war album. It's so good.
Okay,
It'll rip you to shreds.
I
It's
will have to check it out when it comes out because that's not in my inbox. So,
yeah, and I'm still waiting on August Burns Red, but I'm under the impression that they're gonna be really good too. So I'll have both those reviews out within the next couple of weeks, or it comes out the 27th, so I'll have them in, but they won't be released until around the drop date.
gotcha.
But in my current top five, I just did a top five. Did you hear the new Neurosis?
I did not. Actually, what's funny is I know the original vocalist. He's from around my area, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my friend Jimbo, he owned a record store. He knew a bunch of people. I mean, he knew Kellen Quinn before Kellen Quinn was Kellen Quinn. Okay, so
You you're dropping a I can't even reference, but I know you know what I'm talking about when I say you're referencing to a question that was never answered in a certain interview that never dropped. So you're lightly tapping at my algorithms there, bro.
I wasn't actually making any references to that. I was just saying because my friend Jimbo, he knew a bunch of people who became big around my area. Kellen Quinn being one of them. I
Mhm.
think the guy from Neurosis around the original vocalists from around my area. I don't listen to them though. Aren't they more like sludgy doom?
Yeah. Well, it's more like no, not so much sludge. I mean, it
Okay,
has um they're just one of those bands that take the basics of almost metalcore to a degree. I mean, they
really?
hit some pieces, bits and pieces here, like, but I mean, they've spent decades doing this. They'd like turn all the existential dread tones into, routine exercise. But it's the album's called An Undying Love for a Burning World. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is going to be kind of a quasi revocation album, where they hit it really hard with the first song, and then the rest are just like a tectonic plate of traditional tonology. They're not going to go, no, it was a bullwhip. Really, really good emotional weight of just civilization collapsing. But it's weird because most of these bands that are coming out with these albums that emulate the commonplace of right now, where it feels like the world is ending, they wrote these freaking albums like almost a year ago.
Yeah,
It was bad and they could feel the dread, but it wasn't so bad to where we woke up and like the president is cussing his brains out on the internet and everybody's having rampant psychosis and, we're writhing in delirium. But this album is really good for bringing you down from that anxiety. So I love that. So, Neurosis, An Undying Love for a Burning World, Gut Void, who I'd never heard of before, Liminal Shires, which
it's a
is,
cool name.
it's a really cool name. It's almost like you wouldn't know this band, but they were like derivative of Crotch Duster. Do you remember Crotch Duster?
I've heard the name, not the
There,
band.
there's a band called Butt Vomit.
I love these names.
Aren't they unique? Just
Yeah, I got one time from a band called Gut Fuck.
That's as
I've got
good.
some freaking ass names. I mean, I personally don't care as long as the music's good.
It sounds like songs by Cattle Decapitation, like Forced Gender Reassignment or Cannibal Corpse.
I never
Songs.
watched that music video for Cow
Oh,
Decapitation. I heard it was the worst thing.
brutal. It was
I saw
brutal.
Let Me Burn by Whitechapel. That one was pretty gnarly. But
Yeah.
also, I'm not a big fan of Cow Decapitation. I mean,
Really?
I don't hate them. I just don't listen to them.
I love watching them live. Travis is bar none
I heard he's one of
hilarious.
the best out there
Oh,
for
he's
death
hilarious.
vocals.
The first time I saw them at Soma, he hocked a loogie in the air. He caught it in his hand and then he snorted it up his nose.
I think I've heard a similar story to Jose Mangan talked about that somewhere, actually.
He's
I,
That's
hey,
some geriatric unit mayhem right there.
you know, I give him credit because you would probably spit at the audience most likely, or your drummer, or even your bass player. But no,
Oh,
you put it back in,
well,
especially when you're screaming.
he takes the grotesque to a new level, but then you go to the merch table and he has a lineup of humanitarian demonstrations and ways you can sign up for the community and help donate to really great stuff around here in San Diego to help animals and stuff like that. So he's got a pure heart, but he's not afraid to get up there and make you laugh your ass off. It's
I
like,
mean, if
I mean,
if
you'll sit there being like, okay, check it off the list of things I saw before I died. It's
I
hilarious.
think they're doing the Slaughter. Was it the tour, the metal tour, Slaughter to
Oh,
something?
Summer Slaughter?
Summer Slaughter. I think it's them and Carnifex.
Good, good. Carnifex is awesome.
I really want to see Carnifex. Actually, what's funny is I like their older stuff, but their newer stuff is just freaking awesome.
That's funny because I really grew up with their older stuff. They would tour with Suffocate all the time, and they'd come through when we lived in Walnut Creek because my ex and I were living with Ben Oram, and they'd just come and they'd hang out in the merch shop because we had like our apartment right next to the We Need Merch like place where they printed all the shirts. They printed for everybody, but they just sit there and crack jokes for hours. Like great guys. Ryan, I miss Ryan so much. He's the original lineup was great.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I Die Without Hope was probably the album that I really got into them because Drowning in Blood is like one of the best songs in the deathcore genre.
you think so?
I think so. It has everything that I love about it.
I lean more towards All Shall Perish on the deathcore level, but
I've
I'm
listened to them a
biased.
few
I'm biased.
times. That's because to be honest, I didn't like deathcore except for Whitechapel and Carnifex for the longest time because I couldn't find anything I liked. But then Child of Intent, happened,
Yeah,
and the symphonic era happened, and I just like this is my shit.
it's good. It's really good.
I know. A lot of old school deathcore fans don't like the new modern deathcore sound, but I personally I love it.
I like how it's evolved. Did you ever get into this is completely irrelevant. I swear I'll get back to my last three, but did you ever get into that Italian band Distrage, I think is what they're how they pronounce it,
Yes,
Distrage.
I know who they are.
I'm obsessed with that band's first album. That very first
I
album they did before they came out with oh what's the one? The Palace de Jade or the yeah, Jade's Palace or whatever on that album.
I know what you're talking about. They
Yeah.
did a compilation album with a bunch of Italian bands for Studio Ghibli. So, Disharmonia Mundi has a song, Japanese version of Country Roads. If I start saying it, my mom gets really pissed at me. So I'll do that. I don't know the American version of Country Road, but I can sing it in poor Japanese because it's so catchy. And
Oh,
Destridge did a song, Ponyo, the Ponyo song. Ponyo, Ponyo. You can look it up. It's called
I did not even know that existed. That's brand new to
Imaginary
me.
Flying Machines. They have 3 albums.
Oh, that's
It's
so rad. I'm gonna
if you
check
like
that out.
the yeah, if you like the Japanese music from Studio Ghibli and you want more metal, there's some really cool stuff on there. So yes, I know who Destrich was exactly when you're talking about them. They're not around anymore, I don't think. I think they broke up.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I did an interview with them back in 2016, right when they dropped Are You what God, why can't I remember the album? It was awesome. It had nope, not coming to me. My brain's too shot. They're basically their third album. They had just come out with their third album and dropped it, and I interviewed them about the community in Italy, and they kind of hinted that stability was hit or miss, like it really is. I mean, they're on a great label, but shit happens all the time where people lose their finances and they just can't, or they just lose their desire. I keep seeing that, and that's a huge bummer where it's not
Yeah,
even that any drama happened. It's just because people are
money.
losing the practicality. It's not even worth it to be a rock star anymore. But,
Nope.
but
So, what? Let's go back to what you were saying before,
yeah.
though.
Okay, so number three, Hell Ripper, Coronach.
That's in my inbox. I have not
Is
listened to that
that
yet.
definitely listen to that? I'm not gonna say anything about it then because you need I want to know your opinion when you're done listening
Okay,
to it.
I will.
Monstrosity screams from beneath the surface. So like I don't know. Like the sonic
Sounds cool.
equivalent, they're like yeah, like it gets lower. Everything gets lower. You didn't think it was possible for the basement to have a basement, but it's got a basement and they're screaming in the basement.
That's
Um,
awesome.
there's long-term archaeological dig, the whole like plus Florida. There's something about living in Florida that has an impact on metal in general, and they just come out brutal, like fangs or like teeth on an alligator sort of level.
Yeah, I
Slightly,
can.
yeah. Um, Lots of jump scares too. Lots of like
Hmm,
just popping out at you. And then obviously my number one is Lamb of God. I feel like it's not ambiguous to say that Lamb of God is impenetrably one of the greatest metal bands of all time. I mean, the way a lot of people of my age especially feel about Slipknot is how I felt about Lamb of God. I truly felt like the tonology that they derived in their first three albums just set the tone for everything else. Um, you know, and it's hard not to listen to any other band and not hear the concentrations in different areas. But every single song on their new album, Into Oblivion, is so good. I like what they're emphasizing in the press outside of us, where they're talking about art. Because I have small inconvenient history with art, and I think he is a phenomenal human being. We definitely endured the MySpace scene days the same way. Um, and I know that he's been through a lot and he's been through a lot of changes. He's also the drummer for Prong. I mean, he's doing a lot, but they're pushing the fact that he was sober on this album like it's a big thing. And
interesting.
I mean, it's really awesome because truly. of all the people that are, pushing politics in a, let's not be idiots. Let's not hate each other. Let's not be divisive. But also, this is wrong. Like, Randy is really great at presenting himself, and he articulates and he's lucid and he listens more than he speaks. But when he speaks, he's pretty clear that the line has been crossed. So there's him at the forefront, but then the foundation of the sound is Art, who I've always known as Winds of Plague. It's not that I've been ignoring him in other projects, it's just, he chose to join another project after it was developed. And with Winds of Plague, even though he did that there, he was favored. And the way that they presented him in the beginning, threw everyone for a loop. Because I think that was where it really kicked off, that bands were trying to replace their members with people they found on YouTube. And he was
Yep.
just the ace. And I remember when we were talking in the very beginning, I think he did do marching band. I think he did a lot of cool things for fundamentals that, one day I hope I can do an interview with him and ask him to promote that, because I don't think enough artists talk about, hey, get your discipline in high school. Go do jazz band, do concert band, do these things and get to know people, because it will set you up fundamentally for the way he presents himself on stage now. He's classy. He's got stature. He's got morals. He's got ethics. Even when he does drink or he does do whatever he does, he's still got a really good soul that presents everything qualitatively. So, it's altogether a good album, but I think that Lamb of God is actually going for the full blown, like, jugular of standing up for what's right and leading people, not influentially, but just being like, listen, this is what's right. We all decided this a long ass time ago in the metal industry. We decided that we weren't gonna envy or, idolize politicians. We don't do that shit here. This is not where we do that. And we don't cause people to hate other people for stupid reasons. And I've always loved that about Lamb of God. So that's my number one. That's all I gotta say about that.
Randy hates my town.
What?
You heard me. Randy hates my town.
Why?
Sandy Hook happened.
Oh, well, I mean, that's not a reason to hate your town. That's just a
No, he
reason to,
hate no, he hates our town because he wanted a moment of silence. But of course, you have metalheads, you have alcohol, you have
oh,
assholes. That
yeah.
moment of silence didn't go so well. The day after that, he made a big stink about it, and our radio station was like, "What the fuck, people? Come on, we're not gonna get any more good bands if this shit keeps happening." Five Finger Death Punch loved our town. Lamb of God hates our town.
Yeah, he's a very articulate human being. It's funny that Randy goes into the paradox of being on stage at all, because it is a glamorous position to be in. It's like, could you imagine if Stephen King started a rock band like AC/DC? No, because
Ugh.
his forte is sitting in a library absorbing literature and being scared for fun. Brandy strikes me as the sort of person who, he's probably a history buff. He's
Most
probably
likely.
he's probably a theology buff. He could probably school anybody on Apocrypha. He definitely knows how to call bullshit. He doesn't like religious fathom. And I respect that on such an incredible level, because he's also one of the greatest and most superior organizers of service to people. So it's funny that I get it. It boils down to respect. It's the same sort of stance I would expect to get my ass beat for sitting on a monument that has grave posts in a military um, cemetery. Because it's happened before. I've climbed up on top of them and I've sat there as an asshole teenager, and some superior lieutenant came up and was like, "Get the fuck down." And he looked me directly in the face. He's like, "Don't disrespect our dead." I was like, "Sorry. Sorry, I'm a douchebag. I don't know anything about life. Thanks for putting me in my place." So Randy strikes me as that kind of person who will put you in your place when you're being inappropriate. So he probably
Yeah,
doesn't hate
well,
your town though. There's condition.
yeah, I don't think they never came back after that. But then again, our town hasn't got any good shows in a long time, so
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to look up the town, I'm sure you could probably find an article somewhere. It was on Blabbermouth a long ass time ago. I'm like, wow, that's definitely gonna screw up the touring thing around here.
Right. Yeah. All right.
So,
So we're
but
down to about 5:27.
so how long do we have left on this
Five
one?
minutes and 27 seconds. 26:25.
Okay, so Lamb of God was actually one of the first edgy bands I listened to be honest. Sacrament was one of my favorite albums as a young angsty teenager.
Yes.
And I just did karaoke up in Seattle because I found a place and I did Redneck. It
Nice.
was fun.
That's a good
I killed
song.
my voice, but damn was it fun.
Yeah.
Then I did Mermaider by Death Clock.
Yeah. Yes.
That one was fun. I really need to learn proper technique eventually because I've been not in Seattle, but there's a KJ around here I'm pals with, and he has a bunch of the heavier shit, like Lorna Shore and stuff. So I've been doing like Lorna Shore covers, but I will not do Pain Remains Part 3 because that song's like 9 minutes long. That'll cause me to become a mime if I don't have proper technique at least. So,
Yeah.
but I've done 1 and 2, and I gotta admit, I'm not that great, but that second part, I'm like, I think I nailed those vocal lines pretty well.
Yeah.
So, but what's funny is that your list is bigger than mine. I only have like 2 albums on here that I've listened to all week. The new Don Bronco album, Nightmare Trippin'. I love it. It's awesome. Where Don Bronco decides to go heavier is way weirder because there's a song on here with Sam Carter from Architects, heavy as shit. And I love the track Nightmare Trippin'. I think it's going to be on my top 10 of this year's list because I don't know why. I think Chad Kroeger really kills it on this song. I think it's probably one of his best deliveries and singing forever because let's be honest, it's kind of like samey, formulaic, and predictable. Well, on Nightmare Trippin', it's a lot different. And Don Broco as a whole, the whole entire album is just it's heavier. It leans more into hard rock and metal than it does those last 2 albums, which lean more into like pop or something. But there's still those elements there. It's still a Don Broco album when you listen to it, but also lyric wise, it's a lot it's a lot more straightforward, I think, because Don Broco songs are usually chaotic in their lyric content because there's some of these songs like, what is this song actually about? Like Red Number One Fan. I still don't know what that song's about, but it's such a damn good song. But right here, the lyrics here are a little more digestible for normal people who don't listen to Don Bracco. Because let's be honest, I listened to T-Shirt song the first time, no context on it. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? But then when I looked into the context of the T-Shirt song, the song was a better song and has become one of my favorites since then. So if you have context of who Don Bronco is, you probably will actually like this album. If you're a newbie too, I think you'll like it because again, it's not repetitive. Each song's different. Also, it's not a very long album. It's like 40 minutes long. So if you're just sitting down not doing anything, it's a good way to kill time. And yeah, I recommend it, and it's out now. This next one, I've only listened to it once, but I'm going to describe it why I felt like this album would have been an Underworld to the first movie, or would have been a Queen of the Damned, the way it sounds. It's that new metal industrial sound, but it has like all this nostalgia behind it. Like if you listen to this now, and you would be like, okay, this album's from 2001 or 2003. No, this album's from 2026. And the main songwriter, he's actually one of the main songwriters for Psycho Frame, Hunter. So he's a really talented guy. He's going through hell right now with some health problems, incurable health problems too. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but mainly fatigue and stuff. But he's still out there recording and releasing new music, and he's really talented. And if you are looking for that nostalgic album, like something that has like modern production, but has a sound like you for a teenager. This new Mood Ring album has that. So, ever listen to Mood Ring?
Sorry, I can't. Yes, a little bit. I listened to them a little bit.
That's cool because the first album I described it as music you listen to at a roller skating place.
Yeah, I can
That's the
see that.
first album, and they're like, we don't know what that means, but we'll take it as a compliment. And this
Yeah,
album belongs a 2000s movie,
right.
so I highly recommend those two. My inbox is full to the brim of stuff I still listen to. I have the new Body Snatcher album in my inbox. I haven't had a chance to listen to that yet.
Ooh, that is a
You
good
listen?
one.
Okay, because to be honest, I saw them live. I saw them with Boundaries and Shadow of Intent. So Boundaries was first, and they killed it. Then Bystander was on, and I was just bored. I just wanted Shadow of Intent to come on. So I think that's why I didn't care too much for Body Snatcher. I'm sure they're fun live, and they do have a bunch of breakdowns and stuff. It's for the people who want to get rowdy. Cool for them, but I think I just got a little too impatient. Maybe that's why I didn't enjoy them as much. I mean, I don't hate them though, but and I still haven't listened to any of the new songs or the new albums, so I really can't say if they got better or worse. That's just a personal opinion of mine.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
that's it.
that's a good opinion to have, though, you know? Keeps you guarded. Have you ever heard of the band Severed Savior?
Severed Savior?
Yes, they're one of my favorite, like, brutal, like, technical death, I guess is what you could. They're like, I don't know. I don't know how deep into metal you go. I feel like you're
I
more,
I I go. I listen to a bunch of stuff. It just happens that around this time period, it's more deathcore oriented. So, but I do listen to tech death. So,
okay, so like, they're a combination of like spite meets
okay,
like I don't know. I listen to bands like Gorgasm and Odious Mortem, Severed Savior. I listen to bands like Kill Whitney Dead. So if there's
gotcha.
ever anything within that vicinity of just being chaotic, technical.
I I just love weird bands in general, like
Right.
Between the Buried and Me, because it's everything. It's everything. You got your metalcore, then you got your deathcore, then you got your jazz, and you got your polka, then you got
Yeah.
your 1930s lounge music too in one of the songs, which is one of my favorite songs. Fossil Jero from the Clouds. Love that song. Love that intro. I always catch myself like snapping my fingers and walking around like I'm one of those old lounge bands sometimes. But no one's ever gonna see that because it's always in private.
Right. Most
But
of Yeah, I mean most of the deathcore I'm aware of is because of the early, well, 2007 onward and just, living with Ben and all of them, you get introduced to the bands that they're touring with. Like that's how I figured out who Animals as Leaders was, because they were in the garage one morning. It's how I knew
wow,
who Deicide was, who Despised Icon was another big one.
I know they are.
The Faceless was I think the Faceless was the funniest because I actually tried out for a band. It was a band called Beard the Lion, guttural vocals for this local Reno band, and the drummer was obsessed with the Faceless. And I heard the Faceless and I liked the Faceless, but then they started going all sci-fi right around 2010. It's like
Hmm.
right at the end of 2009, 2010, they dropped that album that was very alien. Everybody made fun of it at first because it was like so.
Planet Duality, I think that's what it's
Yes,
called.
it was like byproduct of Yngwie Malmsteen. Just and he knew what's his name. Why I'm thinking Klein, but it's not his Klein. What was the guitarist's name? Super
For the
for the Faceless. Michael Keane. Michael Keane. So
yes.
my favorite memory ever. It was I now remember it was Christmas. It was Christmas. So the week of Christmas, they played a show at DNA Lounge in San Francisco. It was Suffocate opened, dying fetus,
Wow.
all shall perish, and the faceless.
Good
And
Lord.
we had just come off tour. Suffocate had just come off tour, and I was still in deep shit because I did something on tour that almost got everybody killed. So everyone was still pissed at me, and I bought a bunch of them drinks. I'm like, I'm sorry, I was being a bitch, and I shouldn't have acted the way that I did, and I was trying to be as stand-up and studious as I could be. But I remember walking into the venue, and we had all just kind of kissed and made up. And there's Michael Caine. And he's standing on stage, and the way the stage is completely open on both sides with a staircase that goes
Okay.
up to one level of the stage, and then it goes up another level to where the drum kit is, and then it goes up like the Beauty and the Beast castle, where it's like up and then up to the green room. And
That makes sense.
he's standing there like Toki from Death Clock. Just I'm so serious. Like his hair, his new style was protruding. He had just got this side of his head shaved, and he's up there like this, and he's just like, I'm just looking at him like, oh, A, that you're pretty, B, that you're good, and C, that you can get whoever you want. And thank God it's not me because I don't want to hear you talk about yourself the rest of the night. Like he was, and it was the greatest show though. Everything was flawless. And this was not to get too deep into the story, but did I tell you the story about Trey? The I'm gonna
I
eat your shit bully story?
No, because I would
Okay.
definitely remember to something like that.
So Trey of Dying Fetus was teching his drum, and I was like I said, I just apologized to everybody for being a psychopath on tour because there was a bunch of cruise shit that happened and I didn't handle it correctly. If you want the reference, you can go see the podcast I did with Wyatt's Metal because it
Oh,
caused a big storm when I talked about it, and the CEO of Lamb Goat went after my ass and was
oh
like,
yes, I remember that.
yeah, you remember that. So I told the story already. I'm not going to retell it. So I
That's
had
fine.
just kissed and made up with everybody, but was still just kind of like off minding my own business. I had my fruit margarita. I'm drinking it, and I'm just kind of off in my own little world. And to my left, Trey is standing there teching his drum. And he sees me like we're within earshot of each other, and I'm just kind of staring off into space. Tech, 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 stops. You want to hear a story about my bully? And I was like, sure. Yeah, sure. And he's like, all right. And he put his drum down. He's like, when I was in high school, I had this bully that picked on me every single day. He was so fucking mean to me. He would corner me in choir practice and he'd like push me around. One day he threw me in the trash. Finally, I said, I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm not gonna. And I went into the practice room and I straight up practiced how I was gonna tell this dude off. I was like, I'm not gonna take your shit anymore. Not gonna take your shit anymore. And he said it came to the moment where I was before my bully and I looked at him. And what came out was, I'm gonna eat your shit. The guy freaked out, ran out of the room, and Trey was just like, I tried to confront him later. He's like, dude, I'm sorry. Look, just don't eat my shit, okay? They get halfway through the set and there's a pause. Dying Fetus is set and there's a pause. And Bray and I, my ex Bray, then I are standing on the steps that descend down onto the drum kit. Right as they're a break, we're like, hey, Trey, I'm gonna eat your shit. He loses it. Ah, greatest moment.
Jesus.
We had a good time. It was good. We had some fun times. I miss it. I miss being active in that, but now I gotta be a grown up and do medicine. I miss that crew though. They're all really good people and they're so funny. They've got the greatest music stories and they need to be told by somebody.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm gonna eat your shit.
I have nothing like that at all because
Oh, I
I was
love
just a
it.
concert goer, and whenever I got a chance to go to something I wanted to go to, I just go to it, and hopefully nothing bad happened. That was just my my thing.
Yeah.
Because got into a fight at Aslake Dying, got assaulted at Breaking Benjamin on the third time I saw him, and yeah, some shit has happened, but nothing that funny or that ridiculous.
I've been there for a few things. It's a lot of
But
technical stuff. They're all human. They're all
yeah,
wonderful, wonderful people. They've got great families. They're good men. They're flawed like everybody, you know.
yeah,
They're not worth attacking or trying to, figure out secrets with because they got nothing to hide. They're good.
I never understood people trying to find dirt on people. I mean, if it's out there, it's out there. You can find it, but I never went like, okay, I'm just gonna find something about this person. I was trying to find some like dark secret in my town. The only thing I found was that there's a glory hole in an adult bookstore.
And that's average for where I'm from. In Reno, those are all over the place. It doesn't even.
I was like, there's something weird going on in this town. It's some eyes wide shut pagan shit, and I'm gonna
Yep.
find it. Nope,
Yep. Usually
never found
mafia
it.
related. Yep. Not hard to find.
Possible, but I was like, nope. I went to Reddit, and that's all I found. I thought maybe I'd find something. I never did.
Yeah.
Every time I tell anyone that, they're like, "Why did you tell me that?" I'm like, "So you know, in the future, if you
I
ever go to that adult bookstore, that you don't go that area." All right, so one thing that's been on my mind, and just in general, is buying music versus streaming on anything. It could be movies, it could be music, it could be TV shows. So, I mean, we all agreed that streaming was great when it first started, but as it's progressed, it's been getting worse, making normal CDs like this hard to find too. Like, I can't buy a normal Whitechapel album on the internet for less than 30 bucks. That's not even like a bonus track version or anything. And I'm just like, I want physical media to come back. I am so sick. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my streaming too. I'll go stream on Netflix right after this. No problem. I'm not going to say don't stream. But still, we gotta support physical media. But I want to watch Interstellar. I was looking through all my streaming services, doesn't have it. I should go down the store, if there is one, and go buy the goddamn movie. And another quick story. There was this band. Probably heard of them, probably didn't. They were called Plagues. They were awesome. They were like a theatrical metalcore band. People would say they were like Sleep Token but weirder or whatever, but that's beside the point. Well, he got into legal trouble because for plagiarism and other stuff. The music on Spotify for that band is now gone, which means you can't get it anywhere. You can't buy it off Amazon. You can't stream it on iTunes. I was lucky enough to have some of the songs from different promoters and the guy himself, but now this band will never get discovered because all the streaming options are gone, which means you can't even buy it either. So what I'm saying is, don't rely on Spotify for your music. Sometimes buy the CD if they have one, or the vinyl, or if they have it available. I always tell bands, I ask them, Bandcamp, because it's easy to buy from Bandcamp, or a PayPal address. Give me a PayPal address. I'll send you $2 or $3, and you send me the song file. So then, if the band ever goes under, ever gets canceled, or quits making music, you still have those song files. I have about 95% of the Plagues tracks. There was one that I did have, but when my computer fried, I could not find it again. So I had to grab it off YouTube before he removed his whole entire thing. So all I'm saying is, please, anybody who's listening or watching, don't forget the importance of physical media or owning your digital stuff. Like, there's a band that I liked called Escape the Day. I have most of their songs. They don't have a couple of them on Spotify, but if they put them on Bandcamp, I will buy them. I told the band, like, put it on Bandcamp, and I will go out and I will buy it, because well, you're paying $2 or $3 maybe max, depending on what band it is, for one particular song, but you have the file for life on your hard drive or in the cloud, or however you want it. So it's just been something that's been bugging me for a long time because Plagues, that album came out, that would have been the album of that year, which was about a year and a half ago. They had the track list ready, they had the album art cover now. You can't find either one of those. The only reason why I have the album art is because I loved it so much I downloaded it onto my computer. So all I'm saying is physical media. Also demand bands to have physical media. They say some of them will say it's not worth it, but like there are people. CDs are coming back apparently. I mean, let's see. Do you want to pay $10 for a CD or do you want to pay $60 for a vinyl? Personally, I'd rather pay $10 for the CD because right now I can't find certain Whitechapel albums and they're just so damn expensive too. Because you'd pay $30 for an album if it came from Europe or Japan, no problem. But now it's your normal $14 to $15 CD goes up for 35, $40. And so that is the end of my rant on the idea that we need to bring back physical media for everything. Also, on top of that, streaming is so damn expensive now, and the ads are ridiculous. I can't watch Invincible without getting an ad for a medication that I will never use because I don't have those problems. It's like, I don't have diabetes. I don't have AIDS. I don't have eczema. I don't have any of that. Quit showing me these goddamn ads. Just play the show.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. Streaming is the only like technological innovation that managed to make abundance feel like a chore, you know? It's like it's a miracle of modern engineering that allows you to access like 70 million songs instantly. I mean, in my opinion, it takes away because you and I had the grandeur of even illegally downloading things because that was an adventure in and of
Yep.
itself, but we also knew we were pirating and we knew that it was taking away from the experience. But I mean, then there were those of us that weren't allowed to buy anything that had a explicit tag on it. But now, like it somehow recreates the exact same psychological burden as standing in front of a refrigerator at 2 a.m. and thinking like there's nothing to eat, except now the refrigerator is like infinitely judging you. It's like there's a red dot on your head or a tag that you know, mark of the beast that you just don't respect music the way that you're supposed to. Owning music used to be like a personality trait. I remember like having a playlist on your iPad, as even ethically wrong as that was, it was who you were. It was your identity. You spent hours figuring out what you wanted to listen to. I had a Brit pop, I had a Brit punk, I had every kind of playlist, and it really emulated my day. You know, it's how I picked out my clothes most of the time. Like you had a CD or a record or like even a badly labeled burn CD that said something like Summer Mix Final 3, Real Final, and like then you know you didn't take care of it and it got broken. It was like, but it existed. It took up
Yep.
space. It implied commitment. If you bought a bad album, you were stuck with it, which meant you either
Yep.
learn to love it or develop a nuanced hatred for like what made you more interesting at parties. Like streaming eliminates this entirely. Now, if something doesn't like immediately validate your mood within 11 seconds, you skip it like it just insulted your family. You don't listen to music anymore. You like audition it. Or you
It's content. It's not art anymore.
right? And it's I don't know. It's a bummer to me because it used to be such an enormous conversation piece, you know, and now it's fizzling out. Like the algorithm, you know,
Hmm.
meanwhile has become your most like attentive but least trustworthy friend. It watches everything you do and concludes that because you listen to that one sad song while microwaving fucking leftovers, your core identity is like melancholy and sad all the time and it's like being psychoanalyzed by a fucking Roomba.
Yeah, I don't like the algorithm for anything except for my Netflix algorithm. I love that one because it has everything set up to the point where if I want to watch a Scandinavian crime show, it's right there. Shows, from Scandinavia or Japanese movies or whatever. That I like. Everything else in terms of algorithm, I don't care about. The algorithm
Right.
doesn't decide what I want. I decide what I want. The only time I ever found a band that I really loved from like a Facebook ad was Forgetting the Memories. They were a
Hmm.
Swedish melodic death metal band, still one of my favorites to this very day. But also the ad was interesting. It just wasn't in my face. It was like, band from Sweden and the cover art for their single. I'm like, that looks cool. I listened to it. and I contacted the band, and they were awesome. So, I mean, sure, the algorithm is probably cool for some things, but it shouldn't be the constant thing that keeps you as a person to pick things.
Right. Well, I mean, even the playlist has gone down in value, and that used to be an enormous part of the conversation piece. And people need to realize these conversations aren't even happening anymore. If we're going to mend the ripped apart blanket of our society's inability to even comprehend one another, the fun things are gone. We've mismanaged, we've grown addicted to the simplicity of easy access, and now the conversation doesn't even happen. Like, used to be playlists are like, I don't know. Just basically no one loves a playlist anymore. You tolerate it. It's the sonic equivalent of waiting for like a magazine to come out, or waiting for it's a like a waiting room magazine more than anything, or just like something that you're privileged to get every once in a while, or to like every once in a while, where it used to be an actual event back in the day. I remember sitting in front of the TV and waiting for the Much Music Top 10 countdown to happen, right? I literally had to
Hmm.
sit through that in order to get to Metal Mistress Julia's show, Uranium. And that's who, I wanted to be Metal Mistress Julia, but you'd sit through the top 10 Much Music Countdown. The number one song was always Newfound Glory, but then you had access to like Outcast when they came out with The Whole World that featured Killer Mike. I had never heard Killer Mike before. Those exposures are enormous, or they used to be, for the quality that we like intercept music. And now it's gone, you know?
And it's just, and kids, they don't realize how hard it was for us growing up. We had to go to the library, we had to burn the album, we had to download it from torrent, which was a pain in the ass.
Hmm.
My library went out of business a few years. This was back in, let's just say, Harry Potter Deathly Hallows audiobook. I
Oh,
wanted it. Library gone. Zachary poor. He learned torrent and he burned every single file onto a disc. There were 17 discs for that audiobook. I went through them, I labeled them, and everything. My mom, she hated me for it, but I'm like, I can't pay for this. Our library is gone. This is the only way to do it. So that's how I discovered, downloading. So I've been doing that ever since. But and the kids don't have to listen to the radio anymore and have to record the song off the radio. I had a whole tape that had all the songs from the early 2000s recorded. It had Nickelback, it had Trapped, it had Evanescence, it had Three Doors Down, it had Three Days Grace, and I got those all off the radio. The problem is that the kid, it sound like old man yelling at the sky, but the kids don't know how easily they have it in terms of access to everything.
yeah.
And
And
we
that,
had to put in the damn effort to find it.
well, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is like streaming isn't bad because it gives you too much. It's bad because it removes the friction that made liking something feel meaningful. When everything is available, nothing feels discovered. And that was such an essential role in like the MySpace era.
I remember that.
You found a band that nobody had heard of before, and you felt so cool for knowing them before anybody else. You got their merchandise, you showed up to the Thrice show or the local band where
Ah,
we had like Barcadia. Show up to the Barcadia show with your I don't know, like your Cruel Hand shirt, and no one had even heard of Cruel Hand yet. Or,
mm-hmm.
when, I don't know, when nothing costs anything, nothing feels owned. That's the bottom line. And when every song is like one tap away, they all start to feel the exact same, and worthy of being forgotten. And it's just a bummer. It's not eclectic anymore, and it's not what it used to be.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, streaming is great. It has some of its stuff, but I am so sick of ads, and YouTube censorship is just insane. Like, I remember when YouTube first started, you could say whatever you want, however you want, put whatever you want in there, and everyone either liked it or they hate it. Now you have to censor words, you have to not offend people, and you can't have certain views, or else people are gonna, put you in a box with these people that you may or may not agree with.
Yeah.
That's why I missed in general about just being a person. People look at me and probably put me in a box. Fine, but I am more than that box. I am the circle.
Right. Well, I mean, that's like,
because
oh, go on.
oh because because I have certain traits or I have certain likes, and I always tell people I'm an edgy 2000s kid. I still talk the same as I did in the 2000s, just not on the internet for
Yeah.
obvious reasons. But I'm just saying that I just miss, people not caring what you did or said. They didn't like it, they just fuck off.
I've never liked YouTube. I mean, from the very beginning, I remember I started getting into YouTube when Keisha got famous. You remember Keisha?
Kesha,
Kesha, whatever.
don't remind me. I know.
Like all the hardcore metalcore dudes on tour were so into her and it pissed me off so bad. Like the entire Suffocate High Five Stage Dives tour was them just, oh, Keisha's so great. And I'm like, I fucking hate this girl.
How
She
about Katy
abandoned.
Perry? She was on the Warp Tour.
I didn't like the "you're so gay and you don't even like boys" era of Katy Perry. I didn't even get it. Like once they become a pop sensation, it's like static in the background for me, unless it's pushed by people on tour and we're listening to it the entire like 8 hour drive from Kansas to our next destination. Then I'm like, this makes me want to sucker punch this bitch in the face. If you force it on me and I don't find it attractive at all, but she blew up and it came out that she's the daughter of a major country producer and she's got all this silver platter technicality going on, but I've never liked YouTube. YouTube is what happens when like television eats itself and like digests the concept of attention and then decides the only logical next step is to become your roommate. It's annoying. You're like sharing way more than diversity with people. And especially now that I've got kids, they'll spend 5 minutes on YouTube and they've seen more pornographic images and I have an absolute heart attack. I spend the next 45 minutes explaining to them anatomy in ways that I'm just like, this is this is psychosis on display. It began as a place where someone might accidentally become famous for like falling off of a fucking skateboard. Now it's like the sprawling psychological ecosystem where like a 14-year-old can explain geopolitics better than a news anchor, immediately followed by like a man whispering into a microphone while pretending to be a medieval barber. He's like, it's not that it is that content is bad, but it's also not that content is bad because it's for people. There are people that dig that, but it's that the context has collapsed. Everything exists at the exact same level of importance, and it's mind-numbing. It desensitizes you in a huge way, and especially with music, it's hard to, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about bands when they come out with a new album and they immediately drop it on YouTube. How do you feel about that?
Depends on the band. If I'm looking, because if I want to listen to it right now in that moment, if it's up there on YouTube, sure.
Hmm.
If it's already been on the internet and I already have a copy, then that's fine. Um, to be honest, I'm really indifferent towards bands who drop their albums on YouTube as long as they're there to listen to. Or
Hmm.
what I hate is if you pre-order the album and it's on YouTube before you get your digital copy. That's what I hate.
Okay.
So
Well, I get that. I just think it's funny how back in the day it used to be such an incredible secrecy, or I guess I won't even say secrecy, but like a preservation. They had a sense of preservation for an album release.
yeah,
You
yeah.
had to wait until the 14th of January to hear anything. Now it's such incredible easy access, and it's hard not to do it that way if you want to keep the fathom moving. But I mean,
And
the easy access, I think, is just everything. It's a big pain in the butt.
so yeah. So bottom line is, kids will never understand what we went through. YouTube censorship sucks. Be your own person. Don't follow individuals. And stay away from Amazon Prime Invincible because of all the ad medications. Pretty soon you're going to think you have the diseases.
Yeah,
The,
you're not diseased. You don't have it.
no, I don't like so many different ads. I'm trying to watch one episode. I get four different ads. Back, we used to go on the internet to avoid the ads. Now the ads are everywhere. I mean, we have premium YouTube at home, but we shouldn't have to pay premium or even premium Amazon. You pay for premium Amazon, you should not be getting ads. No, it's pay $3 now extra to not get ads. The best way to say it is the streaming companies are fucking us and in
Hmm.
our wallets.
Yep. I agree.
So,
I
all right,
agree.
well, that was a rant, and that was the truth, depending on how you view it. So, if you guys actually liked this episode, you can follow me on my social media at Metal Theory Radio on Facebook, on Instagram, patreon.com/Metal Theory Radio. Sign up for free and get a shout out of every upcoming episode. And if you want more of this and more of this what's the word I'm looking for? More not authentic me, but more less friendly version of me like this, then follow us here on YouTube at the SentiMETAL Podcast and subscribe. We also on social media, also on Facebook and also on Instagram. I need to update them more. I need to post more pictures and stuff, but I've been busy. But we'll get the social media updated soon enough, and we'll go to my co-host Jordi.
Hi, if you want to see my writing and you want to hear my rampages and hear me get super emotional and probably TMI, you can see my writing at metalinsider.net, where I write and I do album reviews. If you are a dude or a chick in a band that would like some progress or to be looked at and assessed, you can email me at the satanic memorandum at gmail.com and I will review your work. You can send me your press kit or you can send me the link to your socials and I will give you your new album a review. I'm always looking for new stuff. I'm not good on social media. I don't recommend you follow me or try to take my opinion seriously outside of my writing, and even then I'm trying to just make you laugh. So that's
We're
me.
both edge lords. That's the thing.
Yeah, we're neurotic edgelords. I'm always pushing people off the edge. I think that's the problem.
I do it subtly these days. I don't troll the internet as much anymore because just in case I become popular for some odd reason, people find some old stuff. Yeah, I
Right.
could see it being a problem,
Not
but
a problem. I'll be honest about it. If you find anything from even 10 months ago, I'm not the same person, but I'll attest to being, I'll take accountability. I was a jackass, but it was a moment.
in
Jackass
the
moment
words
didn't happen.
in the words of Tim Robinson, I used to be a piece of shit.
Now we're sentimental.
Yep, now we are sentimental. That was a great leeway. That was awesome.
You got me. You
So,
got me.
all right, well, I think that's it. I'm not sure when the next episode will be, but till then, stay metal and later.
Later.